What's up, everybody? It's your boy Devon Taylor here, aka Deezus, and this is my podcast, Deezus Take the Reel. No, this is not a religious podcast. It's a podcast where I'm talking movies, talking life, talking all sorts of crazy shit. And guys, it is a festival holiday. It's a special holiday, one of my favorite holidays. I get to be a basic stoner bitch all day today because it is Deezus Take the Reel special 420 edition, y'all, which is no different than any other edition of Deezus Take the Reel. I am literally baked in 100% of every episode that I've ever recorded. And most other podcasts as well. Like, literally, I'm baked for other people's podcasts too. Like, and I love whenever I do like Skype interview episodes with people, like people that like, you know, haven't met me or whatever. And then literally like right before we record, I'll take a monster bong rip real quick. And I love seeing people's reactions. It is one of the funniest things ever. Danielle from Between Us Girl podcast, shout out to Between Us Girls because they are dope. Hope you guys are still listening to their podcast. But she had the just funniest reaction. Like, I mean, she was cracking up. I think I put it at the end of that episode. I don't remember. But I mean, I do. Oh my goodness. I have an episode of the Random Insanity podcast coming up as well. I was on their show and that got so weird, and I don't think they were prepared for how weird it was gonna be, and it was awesome. Like, because again, like, I'm stoned for literally every recording. That's the best part about podcasting. And at the same time, you know, it gets me into the groove. It gets me into my zone. Yeah, obviously you can tell I'm talking a lot here because it's just me today. Because first I was playing games the other day. I was running behind. I hadn't even started editing the podcast episode. And then, so I start editing it, and there's pieces missing of it. There was some technical difficulties. This week's episode was supposed to be of the More Gooder Than podcast. It was supposed to be with Chris from there, and we were talking buddy cop movies. We talked The Nice Guys, Blue Streak. We had a great conversation, but for one technical difficulty or another, that episode is into the hidden files place. I do have a place for that. I'm gonna make like a remix episode of Deezus Take the Reel of all this like lost footage that has been recorded for like other things, but for some reason will not see the light of day. And that is one of those things. We had a great episode though, so I'm gonna still give you guys some stuff from that episode, just not today. But this snafu couldn't come at a better time because today is 420, y'all. Fucking stoner holiday. I don't even know what 420 is for. Like, I don't know. Was April 20th, is it actually a significant day, or is it the number that has the significance? I have no fucking clue. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked here. So I was supposed to have the More Good Than podcast. I love their show. It's another movie show. They kind of do similar, like the way I do it is they pick 3 movies and they will compare and contrast them and do different things with them, and they have great conversations over there. So I'm going to go ahead and play a little promo for their show because you guys should definitely go check it out. It is a pretty good show.
Hey there, it's Chris from More Gooder Than, where we rate and dissect pop culture one argument at a time. I'm joined by my compadres, Corey Sasso.
What it is, home trees.
And Donnie the Big D Car.
Que mas?
For those of you that would be joining us for the first time, Corey, Donnie, and I each take the side of some piece of pop culture and try and sway the world to agree with our opinions on which one is most goodest, with a 100% money-back guarantee to entertain you in the process. So we've done which is goodest out of the Indiana Jones trilogy.
We've also covered the twin film phenomenon like Armageddon and Deep Impact.
We've also compared and contrasted excellent Bill Paxton performances.
So if that's something that you guys like to enjoy, check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, SoundCloud, and our website, mgtpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at mgtpodcast. Thanks, and check us out.
Yeah, guys, definitely go check out the More Gooder Than podcast. It's a good one. And like I said, I will bring you some sort of audio footage. Well, not footage because you're not watching, but audio-ness from me and Chris's episode because it was a really good one. But shout out to them. Go check out the More Gooder Than podcast. So, what do we have going on today? Well, as you can imagine, I've been laying around on my ass, smoking all night since I got off from work today. That's literally all I've been doing. And it's going to be a pretty short, quick, laid-back episode because I'd like to go resume doing that. But I have to bring an episode this week. I just gotta. I didn't want to take a break. I don't like taking breaks. So I felt like this 420 episode would be nice and special for y'all. We'll talk about weed and movies, stoner movies, being stoned during movies. We'll talk all sorts of stuff. But I gotta tease the exciting stuff that I got coming up. Because, guys, some fucking big shit is going down. Your boy is making moves, as always. And so these next 3 weeks are gonna be all horror related. Because, one, I love horror, and this is my fucking show. If I want to talk a bunch of horror, I'm going to talk a bunch of horror. So that's what we're going to do, because I have this random block of horror just because of it just happened to, with what guests I have coming up and what movies they picked, and then the big shit that just went down. So let's backtrack. About 5 weeks ago, I am listening to the Nightmare on Film Street podcast. Shout out to them, because hopefully I'm going to get to see them next week as well. But I'm listening to their podcast, and they bring up the Overlook Film Fest. And it is a film festival. It is the first one of this particular festival, the inaugural festival. And it's being held up in Mount Hood, Oregon, at the Timberline Lodge, and they are recreating it into the Shining Hotel. What? It's gonna be fucking bananas. It's a indie horror film festival. There's gonna be some dope movies being shown there. Blumhouse is premiering Stephanie, this weird, creepy coming of age sci-fi thriller, or not sci-fi, but supernatural thriller. Sounds real cool. The Bad Batch is gonna be there. With one of the weirdest casts that I've heard. It's got Jim Carrey, Keanu Reeves, and Jason Momoa in it? ? I don't know. It looks fucking weird. I've been super excited for that one. There's Psychopaths, about like this night where like one house is being stalked by like a shit ton of serial killers or something. There's just some really cool movies coming out. It's got some cool horror experiences, VR, all sorts of crazy shit. And it sounded awesome. I looked it up. I was like, man, this is going to be fucking dope. And then I was like, I want to go to this. I was like, how do I get in on this? I want to start taking Deezus Take the Reel on the road and doing, festival coverage. I want to, review movies from the festivals, do interviews at the festivals, all that kind of shit. And I was like, I need to get in on this. So I looked up online, and you have to get press accreditation. Well, obviously, your boy's not that big time yet. And since I'm independent, I don't go off an outlet or anything. I wasn't going to get the press accreditation. But then I kept digging. I found another email, and it just said job inquiries. And I was like, okay, let me just shoot this person an email as well. And so pretty much I just said all the things I could do, all the skills I have, serving experience, all that kind of stuff. And then I mentioned that I could do a little bit of sound, and which is not a complete lie, because I can do a little sound. But they saw that, and I pretty much said, hey, I'm willing to work in exchange for access into the festival. And it was just a whim. And of course, true to today's episode, I was stoned out of my mind while I was typing this email out. I was just like, you know what, fuck it. What's the worst that can happen from sending out an email? That's like the biggest thing I've learned from podcasting is fucking the power of emails. And literally all it is just having the balls to literally email somebody. And that's how I find guests. That's how I get opportunities. You literally just ask. It's that simple. But so I sent this email. It was a little obnoxious, not gonna lie, but I was just like, hey, this is the kind of stuff that I do. I'm a up and coming internet personality, blah, blah, blah. And yeah. And so out of nowhere, about a week and a half ago, I get an email from the Overlook Film Festival people. And they say, hey, thanks for reaching out. We might have a position for you. They asked me a few questions, blah, blah, blah. And pretty much I schmoozed my way into a gig. I will be working with the events, running some sound for the parties, for the premiere parties and stuff. And in exchange, during the day, I get to do whatever the fuck I want. I get to go watch movies. I can go interview people. I'm gonna hopefully meet up with some of the Nightmare on Film Street peeps. John and Kim, they are super awesome people, and hopefully hook up with them, get a little interview from them. I'm going to bring a big ol' double length episode of Deezus Take the Reel, where I will do an episode from the film festival, but then I will also have an episode where it'll be the same episode, but it's going to be a double length. I'll do a regular episode, and then I will also do a one where I'm reviewing all the movies that I see up there, some interviews, I'll tell you about the VR experiences, all that crazy shit. So it's going to be a super stuffed film festival coverage episode. Guys, this is fucking nuts. I'm going to Portland literally next week. I literally just booked this airplane flight yesterday. And you know what? It's crazy, but you know what? It's a foot in the door. This is hopefully the first of many film festivals, and I am super excited. So make sure you guys are following me on Twitter and Instagram, guys, because I'm be posting a shit ton. I'm going full white girl at this film festival, because this is going to be awesome. Like, this is my very first film festival, and I want to share it with you guys. So I'm going to be tweeting a whole bunch as usual. I'll be posting on Instagram a bunch. So make sure you follow me on Twitter at Deezus12 and on Instagram at Deezus.12. And while I'm on the subject of plugging things, I might as well go ahead and talk about the Patreon account. Guys, make sure you go and check out the Patreon account. Just $1 a month can help make the show bigger and better. I can make longer episodes. I can make Deezus and T-Money a weekly show. I can give you guys some bonus content depending on how much you donate, such as bonus episodes of Deezus Take the Reel, monthly Skype sessions, all sorts of awesome stuff. So if you want to help support your boy, because this stuff does cost a little bit of money, if you want to help support the show, definitely check out patreon.com/Deezus Take the Reel, as well as, guys, these iTunes reviews are super important. iTunes reviews help get the show out there so we can get some more listeners, so we can spread the dope word, guys. 5-star reviews get you a shout out on the Deezus and T-Money Reel It In show. I read the reviews over there. So make sure you leave those iTunes reviews. And guys, they make me feel good. They make me all warm inside and make my downstairs move a little bit. It's good stuff, guys. iTunes reviews, Patreon, all that good shit. So let's go ahead and talk about the subject of today. Today is a very special day for some reason. Like I said, I actually don't know why it's a special day. But it is, because your boy is one big ol' stoner. And weed and movies really go hand in hand for me, because I don't know, most of the time, guys, I'm either at work, I'm doing podcast stuff, and I'm smoking weed. That's about all I do, guys. And watching movies, obviously. But there's something about watching movies high, I think, is, I already look at movies in a very unique perspective, at least so I've been told. And I think being a big ol' stoner is a big key of that. But at the same time, it's not like I'm not one of those people that, like, I watch a movie stoned that, like, drastically changes my views on it, because pretty much, like, they go hand in hand for me. Like, whenever I watch a movie high, I'm able to really dissect the movie. I'm watching it with full focus most of the time. Sometimes it doesn't always work out and I fall asleep. That happens as well, because you know what, I'm not a perfect person. But whenever I am watching these movies, like anytime I go to the movie theater, it enhances the movie theater experience for me, because, I'm all about that shit, especially when it comes to, like, watching a horror movie or something, or a cool sci-fi movie. A comedy, really any movie can be enhanced with weed. It's pretty much like the scene in Half-Baked when you got Jon Stewart's cameo, and he's like, hey man, have you ever looked at the stars? Have you ever looked at the stars on weed? It's like, have you ever seen the movie? I forget what movie he says. And he's like, have you ever watched it on weed? Hey man, you ever look at $100 bill? It's so fucking, have you ever looked at it on weed? It's so trippy, man. That's me, pretty much with any movie. But at the same time, like I said, I can really break down a movie past its, I think that's why I'm able to, like, really dig deep, like, past its core elements, past the skeleton, and then you really get to dig in. And I see different facets of the movies. I put my own, implications onto a movie, like just what I think or my own interpretations of something. It's like half the time, my opinions about shit is off the wall. People always say I love the most random movies and the most weird movies, and that's great because I have my own taste and it's my own thing. But but weed has a big deal with that though, because like I said, I love going to theaters and I just love chilling. Nothing is better, on a day off especially, nothing is better than just smoking a little weed, drinking some coffee, watching some movies. That's my shit, guys. It really is. So I'm going to break it down to two categories because, yes, there are stoner movies, in the stoner movie genre, but then also, what are the best movies to get super ripped on and watch high? So I will start off with the first one, though. Stoner movies. What are stoner movies exactly? Because I got into it with some motherfucker on Facebook today. So I posted a poll in Movie Talk by Movie Fans. Go check out the Facebook group. So I put a poll in there and I was just like, hey, what's your guys' favorite stoner comedies? And I included The Big Lebowski, which one, I haven't even seen The Big Lebowski. I know, sue me. I will see this movie at some point, but it's a big hole in my filmography. But anyways, I included Big Lebowski because from what I understand, it sounds like a stoner movie. The premise sounds like a stoner movie. Jeff Bridges' character is a stoner. The brand of comedy, because I feel like I can quote this movie even though I haven't seen it. It's like I pretty much have seen it, but everything about it sounds like a stoner movie to me. And I included it, and it was winning in the poll too. But then this dude's just like, man, I think you're really underselling stoner movies, or you're really underselling The Big Lebowski. It's more than a stoner movie. And I was just like, dude, one, it's fucking 420. Fuck off. Leave me alone. You're really annoying me. And then two, I was just like, obviously it's winning the poll, so people would classify it as a stoner movie. I'm not saying it's only a stoner movie. Yes, I understand that Big Lebowski is a good movie, a good film. So I'm not trying to undersell it, but it has stoner qualities. I included it. So, question to you guys, is The Big Lebowski a stoner movie? Tweet at me and tell me if you think it is or not, because I think it is, but at the same time, I haven't seen it, so maybe I am wrong. Who knows? But fuck that guy. He was pissing me off. Because, I even said, I know, 3 times, and he just, kept going. Ugh, Facebook trolls piss me off. But anyways, I listed all the classics. You got Cheech and Chong movies. You got, they are kind of the pioneers of stoner movies. I'm going to talk about my 3 favorites, maybe not the most 3 popular. So honorable mentions got to, Pineapple Express is a big one, and This Is the End. I think those both count as stoner comedies. Superbad, I think if you count Superbad, shout out to Superbad. One of the best written movies ever, and Seth Rogen was in high school when he wrote it. That's nuts. But so I'm gonna give you my top 3. So my number 3 is one of my first stoner movies I've ever seen. Actually, I'll say that about number 2, but Super Troopers is one I saw real early as well. I love Super Troopers so much. I think it is one of the funniest movies ever. It's made by the guys from the Broken Lizard comedy troupe. They also did Beer Fest, the Slam and Salmon. They've done a couple other things. But Super Troopers is what made them big. Super Troopers is fucking hilarious. You have these highway patrol guys, and they're cops, but they're also they fuck around. They play pranks on each other. They fuck with people when they pull them over and stuff. And then they're trying to get their, police station not shut down, so they just also fuck around to be stupid. And it is one of the funniest movies ever. You can quote it for days. Everyone can sit there and quote Super Troopers, can I get a liter of cola? And Team Ramrod, and the opening scene is super funny. Whenever the dude has to eat all the shrooms and then he gets pulled over and they're fucking with him. The schnozberries taste like schnozberries. It is so funny. I love Super Troopers so much. And it's one of the movies that So my uncle, I have an uncle who loves movies, and he had a big old movie collection, and I would always go over to his place. We'd watch movies and stuff, and it was all the movies that I was not allowed to watch, like, at either of my parents' house. So, like, all the movies I knew I wasn't supposed to watch. If I got to see them before the age of 12, it was because of my uncle, because he had these movies, and Super Troopers is one of these movies, as well as, I mean, really, all three of these movies, because, I mean, like, I knew what weed was, but I guess I never knew what weed was, actually, because, like I said, I've seen, like, all three of these movies on my list. I saw them, like, pretty early, like, around age 10, I'd say, all three of them, and it's like, I understood what was going on, but at the same time, I didn't, you know, so it's like, I appreciate these movies on a whole nother level now, obviously, but it's also funny, because I think that all three of these movies kind of shape my movie sensibilities as far as comedies go, as far as, you know, how I like dialogue and, you know, what kind of, like, what brand of comedy, because, you know, comedy movies are the most subjective movies, I think, because everybody thinks something different is funny. So I think that these three kind of also set my, like I said, movie sensibilities as far as comedies go. So next one is Half-Baked, and didn't even know at the time that it was introducing me to Dave Chappelle, you know, one of my favorite comedians, one of the best comedians of all time. But this was one of the very first things I saw him in. This movie was written by Dave Chappelle, and he stars in it. So you got Thurgood Jenkins and his roommates Brian and Scarface and Kenny. They are just a bunch of stoners. That's all they do. They smoke weed all the time, slack off, all that good stuff. Well, Kenny decides to feed a horse a bunch of food and kills the horse because the horse turned out to be diabetic. So Kenny's in jail, and the rest of the guys are trying to raise money to bail him out. And Thurgood works at a hospital, starts stealing medical marijuana, and then they start selling it, and shenanigans ensue. Guys, Half-Baked is one of the most underrated comedies of all time. Like, I don't think enough people have seen this. Like, it literally got like 2 votes in the poll today. I was kind of disappointed. Same on Twitter too. I posted a Twitter poll as well, and it was also getting a low amount of votes. Guys, watch Half-Baked. This movie is so funny. It has some awesome celebrity cameos in it. You got Dave Chappelle being Dave Chappelle. I mean, he kills it as always, but this was also kind of one of his only movies, actually, like, where he's in the forefront, and it's a super funny movie. The whole cast is hilarious. Like, Brian and Scarface are super funny. Like, I want to quit a job so bad the way that Scarface quits his job. So he works at like a burger place, and he just explodes. He gets on the microphone, he just starts pointing at people. He's like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And then there's an old lady at the counter, and he's like, you're cool. And then he sees his manager, he's like, fuck you, I'm out. And then he just leaves. And it's one of the best scenes ever. Everybody dreams of quitting their job that way. Half-Baked is a super fun movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But I think number one, the most obscure movie on this list, but it is my absolute favorite stoner movie of all time. And again, like, this movie had so much stuff in it that I definitely did not understand as a kid. But then I think it's also how I kind of matured really quickly, because I did watch these kind of movies. But anyways, another one from my uncle's collection. It is How High, starring Method Man and Redman. So you got two stoners, Silas and Jamal. So this has probably the most stoner premise out of any stoner movies, I think, aside from Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, another honorable mention. I mean, that's a pretty stoner premise. But so this movie, you got these two dudes, they're both stoners, and one of them's weed dealer dies, and he grinds him up into a plant and makes him into weed. Okay, so obviously science is out the window in this movie, because I'm not sure that works. Like, I don't know if that's scientifically possible. But so he makes him into weed, and then when he smokes him, he sees him as a ghost, and then he helps him cheat on his like SATs, and him and his friend get perfect SAT scores, and they go to Harvard, and they just smoke weed and do stuff in Harvard. And guys, I think I've said this about all three of these movies so far. So obviously you can tell that I am a stoner movie fan. But guys, this movie is super fucking funny. Like, and I don't think anybody has seen this movie. Like, this movie, I mean, is it the best acted? Maybe not. But at the same time, like, the dialogue in this movie is just so fucking funny. And the situations that they're put in, because it's what you think it would be. Like, you got two over-the-top ghetto dudes up in Harvard. And, you know, they have, like, their friends, like they have like the white gym coach that is like obsessed with them, and then their roommates are really funny because they room with some nerds in the dorms, and it's super funny. One of them joins the rowing team, and that's fucking funny as hell. You get to see them in class, you get to see them not in class, throwing parties. It's just exactly what you think it would be. But just the fact of, like, they're smoking human beings, which is just fucking weird, and they really gloss over it too. It's just kind of like, yeah, whatever, we're smoking our friend, no big deal. Like, they really gloss over it, and it's kind of funny. But guys, check out How High if you haven't seen it. It is one of the funniest movies ever, and I think not enough people have seen it. It is a hidden gem. It definitely has like a small cult following for sure. But check out How High if you haven't seen it. It is my favorite stoner comedy of all time. Rolling Stone shouted Jamal and Silas out as best movie stoners on their best movie stoners list. So people do know about this movie. Like, it's a thing, guys. But not as big of a thing as it should be. Okay, so transition to this next point is, you know, what kind of movies do you want to watch when you're high? Now, this is very subjective because, you know, depends on what kind of experience you want, what kind of movies you like to watch whenever you're high. So these are just my picks, guys. Like, I'm not saying that these are the best movies to watch when you get high. I'm just saying these are the movies that I watch or that I would watch, and that are just make the best sense for, you know, like I said, my movie sensibilities on what I like to watch whenever I get high, because I like a variety of things. So I think I kind of cover this variety as well. So number 3, gotta start off with John Wick, or John Wick 2 as well, because if I want, like, this is my kind of action movie, guys. Like, I remember the first time I watched John Wick, I was watching at like 1 a.m. by myself. I mean, I was fucking fist pumping. I'm like clapping. Like, I if anybody knows me, knows that I hate clapping during movies because it makes no sense to me. Like, obviously the fucking people in the movie can't hear your applause. Quit clapping at the screen, you dumbass. Like, I hate that in movie theaters. So people know that. Like, I make fun of people for clapping during movies all the time. And I'm watching John Wick for the first time. I mean, I am cheering. I'm saying, yes, I'm fucking clapping. Like, I was so into that movie. It was ridiculous because, I mean, John Wick, you got fucking Keanu Reeves, who's one of my favorite people ever in movies. You got Keanu Reeves being a badass. Their action, they, like, created this fighting style called gun fu. It's like a combination of fighting and judo and fucking guns. You got fucking badass car scenes. But it's fucking, this movie is shot beautifully. It has some badass music to it. I mean, this is everything that I want in a action movie. Like I said, it's simple and straightforward. There's not a whole lot of dialogue. All the dialogue is very subtle and to the point. You got John Leguizamo, and I love anytime John Leguizamo pops up. This movie is great. It has one-liners. Like, that's what, like, action movies for me. Like, give me some good action scenes, keep the plot simple, give me my fucking one-liners, like, give me some badass music. I mean, and I'm gonna be a happy camper. I watched The Raid the other night whenever I was super, actually, I mean, I had a fun night the other night, guys. But I watched The Raid the other night, and that's the same way, just balls to the wall action, got some cool music to it. That movie's a lot of fun too. But John Wick 1 and 2, I fucking love both of them so much. I can't wait for John Wick 3. But definitely, I love getting super stoned. And if I can't pick a movie that I want to watch, John Wick is one that I can rewatch a million times as well. I think rewatchability is a big one for movies you like to watch when you're stoned as well, because, you know, you're sometimes absent-minded and choices are hard, so you go with what you know. So you go with the movies that you know you love. Number 2, this isn't one movie, this is just a director rather. Pretty much any Nicholas Winding Refn movie is a great movie to watch while high, at least for me. Especially either Drive, Only God Forgives, and The Neon Demon. Those 3 movies, that trifecta right there. I mean, Drive obviously is one of my favorite movies ever. We covered it a few weeks ago for the live episode. But Drive, it's got badass music to it. Like I said, I love that. I love some good camera work in there. You got Ryan Gosling being a badass. I love getting super stoned and watching Drive because, I want to be Ryan Gosling. I want to be the driver so bad. And as soon as I get done watching Drive, I'll, try to find an excuse to go drive somewhere so I can be like, oh, yeah, fucking Drive, yeah. I fucking love that movie. I can watch that a million times as well. And like I said, music is a big thing for me. If I'm just if I want to just get real high and enjoy a movie, it's got to be something with good music in it. Everybody knows how important movie scores are to me. And, Nicholas Winding Refn, all of Cliff Martinez's scores are fucking perfect. Cliff Martinez is a badass. I listen to Cliff Martinez Pandora at work all the time. So pretty much any Nicholas Winding Refn movie will work. Only God Forgives, even though it's in my lower half, I still love watching that movie. It has a great score, has a great look and feel to it. And then Neon Demon, the more I watch it, the more I like it. It underwhelmed me at first, but Neon Demon it's just a fucking cool ass movie. And again, this is Cliff Martinez at the top of his game. The score for this movie is just it's very cosmic, it's very celestial, these weird synths, and some of the scenes have no dialogue at all, and it's just Cliff Martinez's score. And fucking all of Nicholas Winding Refn's movies are gorgeous, and Neon Demon is the prettiest film as far as looking and sounding. I mean, it is just it's fucking just an orgasm to watch, especially when you're just super stoned, you just want to trip out. I got my purple lights in my room, guys. Turn those lights on. Fucking watch the Neon Demon. I might do that tonight, actually, because that sounds awesome. So pretty much any Nicholas Winding Refn movie is a great movie for me to watch whenever I'm super stoned. And my number 1, this came down to 2 movies, and I'll shout out Zoolander because everybody knows I love Zoolander. But it came down to, I love watching this movie so much. If as far as comedy goes, if I want to get super stoned and watch a comedy movie that I love, it's gotta be something I want to be able to quote this entire thing. And Anchorman is one of the most quotable movies of all time. But not only that, I think it's a fucking phenomenal comedy. It's so fucking good. It's so funny. This is Will Ferrell at the top of his game. I mean, I love Will Ferrell. I think, I fucking love Talladega Nights is another good one as well. Step Brothers. But Anchorman is just, oh my gosh, that's a fucking comedic juggernaut performance from Will Ferrell for one. You got Paul Rudd, you got Dave Koechner, and Steve Carell. That is just comedy gold right there. I mean, I can literally just quote that movie for days. Sex Panther, they say 75% of the time, works every time. And just fucking Ron Burgundy, you have a major erection right now. Oh, do I? It's the pleats. It's the pleats. I mean, there are just so much, I quote it on a daily basis. I work at a breakfast restaurant, and then, I'll drink a big old glass of strawberry milk if I'm, real stoned in the morning, and then later on, just so I can be milk was a bad choice. Oh my goodness, I love Anchorman so much. And like I said, there's nothing more fun than watching it with a bunch of people too. Anchorman's a movie you can throw on with a bunch of people. You're hanging out, you're smoking, you're drinking, and you're just fucking quoting Anchorman because it is such a good time, and you can watch it on repeat. Hell, you can turn the movie on a second time, straight afterwards, and it'd be just as fun as watching it the first time. And, not everybody loves Will Ferrell the way I love Will Ferrell. People are kind of 50-50 on him. But if you're a big Will Ferrell fan especially, Anchorman, is lit. And since this is a solo episode, and I mean, most of my stories are stoner stories anyways, like most of the funny stories that we tell on the show happen when we're super stoned. So I mean, I'm not gonna waste time telling another one because, I gotta save stories for future episodes. But I will leave off this episode by telling you guys I have an Anchor station. If you don't know what Anchor is, it is hopefully, I think it's going to be the next big thing. Like, it could be the next, I think it's going to be like what Periscope wanted to be, but I think it could be better. So Anchor is pretty much like this app, and it's like mini podcasts. Like they're under 4 minutes, and you do these like little podcasts, and you put like music behind it. You can have people call into them and stuff like that, and you create a station, and they only last like 24 hours before they archive, and you can put them back up. But like, so you just add on, and then you can do it like throughout the day, and it creates a station for people to listen to. Like, so like a little playlist of you talking throughout the day. So it's like kind of like a audio vlog as well, or an audio blog. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. So you should definitely check out Anchor. And I do a little segment called Fade to Green Movies. It's where I'm getting real stoned and I pitch fake movies, or I tell you about theater experience that I've had whenever I'm super stoned as well. So it's a cool thing, and I post them on Twitter as well. But just go on to Anchor, Fade to Green Movies. But guys, I think that'll go ahead and do it for this episode. Make sure you are following me on Twitter, like I said, at Deezus12, and on Instagram, Deezus.12, to follow on all the things I'll be doing at the Overlook Film Festival. I am super excited. You got 3 weeks of horror coming on Deezus Take the Reel. We got horror author Tim Miller. That's going to be a super fun one. We're talking underrated slashers. Then you have the double stuffed Overlook Film Festival coverage, Deezus Take the Reel on the road episode. It's going to be fucking awesome, guys. I am so hyped. I leave in fucking 6 days. I am stoked. So be following me so you can keep up with me on that. And then whenever I come back, you guys will be getting an episode of me and Nolan Dean talking about meta horror movies. Nolan Dean is another up-and-coming creator as well. He's kind of busting his ass the way I am, so super excited to do an episode with him. He really knows his movies as well. We're going to be talking some good movies there, and then after that, I have a dope episode with Jaron Myers. We record this thing, and oh my god, it is one of the funniest episodes that we have recorded, like the most I've laughed on an episode in a long time. So many awesome things going on. And of course, guys, make sure you are checking out TV Ate My Brain. It is the podcast over on Quartet Arts Podcast Network. And I cover iZombie. So if you're an iZombie fan, definitely check that out as well, because I fucking love that show. I love covering it for TV Ate My Brain. I also did the 13 Reasons Why recap. If you have watched that show and you got very strong thoughts and opinions on it like everybody else does, check that out as well. I did a recap episode. It was super fun. But guys, that's it for me. I'm going to go smoke some more weed and enjoy the rest of my evening. You guys have a good night. Peace out, motherfuckers. I don't know why I say have a good night. You could be listening to this in the morning, during the day. I don't know your life. I'm not there. Or am I? In your ears. Boogity boogity boo. So you know how in Harry Potter, everybody has their wand is specially made, and it's made of something, and then, they have certain properties. Was Cho Chang's wand made out of bamboo? What are the 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper? I find that very vague and mysterious, and it tastes like one thing, which would be Dr. Pepper. Have you ever thought about that oatmeal is basically breakfast chili? Boom. Your mind's blown.